This is Judd with Blue Ladder Marketing. We help local businesses run Facebook ads and fill their calendars with qualified appointments. Did I catch you at an okay time?
Who is that?
Look, we're not interested in any advertising. Take us off your list, okay? Stop calling. Absolutely. I'll mark that right now. Thanks for your time. Are you kidding me? That's the third one today. I'm just trying to help them grow and they
All right, now if you do not want that to be you and you want to book over 5 appointments every single day through cold calling, I will show you the entire cold calling system in this video. I will break down the script. I'll break it all down to first principles. I'll break down how you source leads, how you even close the prospects. I will show you an entire sales script that you've never seen before, so you can go from booking the appointment to actually closing the appointment with a new sales script. You can ditch your pitch deck that you've never seen before, and I'll break it down for you in this video. Just have a little bit of discipline. Watch this video. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, probably 30 minutes, over 30 minutes, an hour. Watch the full video and I'm going to break down everything with you step by step so that at the end of this video, you'll be able to plug every single variable and system that I show you in this video into your business and start booking appointments tomorrow or today. So let's jump right into it. So I'm going to give you everything that you need to know to that after this video, you can make a cold call and book an appointment. And the next day you can book 5 appointments, 10 appointments, whatever. Of course, you might need more training, more, discipline to actually do it every single day at volume and practice. But today, I'm basically going to give away everything, okay? I'm going to give you the script, the scheduling processes, the showway processes. I'll show you how to do everything, how to track, how to do everything, all right? I'm not going to leave a stone unturned. And so it's important that you watch this video all the way through, okay? You watch this all the way through so you can get all of the hidden value within it if you want to be an amazing cold caller. Okay, because it's less about the scripts, it's less about the tangible things and more about you and what you know and your skills as a person, okay? So if you cannot watch this video in full, I don't know what hope there is for you, okay? So anyways, let's break it down to the first principles. I like to break things down to the first principles just to make them that much simpler to understand. And it becomes a lot easier when you make it simpler, okay? It becomes a lot easier to do a cold call when you view it as just picking up the phone, pressing a few buttons, talking to some people occasionally, explaining what you do, and if it's a good fit, booking them in. It becomes a lot easier to do a cold call if you follow this right here. Way easier, okay? Because before you might have looked at it as, oh, it's so boring. I have to do this. I have to do that. I got to talk to people. I got to deal with a bad pickup rate. I got to deal with people rejecting me. But just think about it like this. Picking up the phone, pressing a few buttons, talking to some people, explaining what you do, and then if it's a good fit, you book them into the calendar. It's so freaking simple. You do this every day. You explain what you do every day. You press buttons on your phone every day. You pick up your phone every day. You talk to a couple people every day. It's so freaking simple. And I'll show you some ways you can hack this and make it that much easier for you, especially this part. I'll show you how you can do it and optimize your energy and be in a way more of a peak state here in a little bit, okay? But that's all it is, okay? Break it down to the skeleton version of it, the bare bones, all right? So next, I'll give you the full system. The full system to turn a stranger into a paying client with cold calling is basically a set of variables, and within those variables, there are different traits, and those traits can either determine whether each variable is more successful or less successful or more detrimental to the system, okay? To the success or failure of the system. So first, you want to go over our niche. I'll show you exactly how you can go cold call in the right niche, how you can pick the right niche, how you can choose the right offer for that niche, how you can source leads. I'll show you exactly how you can dial and make the actual cold calls. I'll show you the script that you need, literally everything about this. I'll show you the booking process that you need. I'll show you how to increase your show up rate, and I'll show you the entire sales process. Like, I will break down an entire sales script that you've never seen before, most likely, that will work way better than what you're using right now. And I'll also show you how to track everything, okay? And so all it is literally just a set of actions that your client has, basically the stranger has to take to become a client. Okay, so they take action 1, 2, 3, right, so on. They take multiple different actions that is through the system you've built in order to become a paying client. So all we need to figure out as to what we need to actually do is, okay, we need to flip that on its head, okay? So I've broken down here what the prospect, the stranger is going to do in order to become a paying client. First, they had to pick up the freaking cold call. So that means you have to have what? Good numbers. You have to be getting through to the personal business owner. You need to not be spam risk. There's a lot of things we'll go over. So they need to pick up the cold call. They need to accept the opener. So that means accepting that, hey, this is a cold call, whatever opener you want to use. I'll show you some different unique openers here in just a second. Something you've probably never heard of before. Then they need to listen to your pitch. They then need to be interested in the pitch, which is heavily carried by the offer. And then you want them to agree to booking the appointment. You want them to provide their qualifying information. You don't want to book in people who are unqualified. Next, you want to pre-ensure the show up and make sure they check their email. Make sure they watch the pre-call homework. So these are just a set of videos. This could be a virtual sales letter, a VSL, a mechanism breakdown, something that provides value for them, so you can have the law of reciprocity, meaning they want to actually give you value back because they receive so much value for free. Okay. Next, and then you can also basically just pre-frame any of their objections that they're going to have on the sales call. Then you're going to want them to believe the social proof and the mechanism that you broke down here. So they actually have to believe that you're a legit person, your system works. Then they have to show up for the sales call. Okay. Next, they need to agree to the agenda of the sales call. Next, answer questions, listen to the pitch. They're going to ask questions, they're going to raise objections, and then you're going to rebuttal their objections. They have to listen to those rebuttals, which just means you're handling their objections. And then after you handle their objections, they have to be convinced that what you say is true and they're making a good decision, and then they actually make a decision, okay? Then they give you their card information, and then they become a paying client, all right? And so this is all that a prospect needs to do in order to become a paying client from your cold call, okay? So cold call is step 1, and then step 2, and then step 3, and so on, right? And so what do we need to actually do in order to make this process happen? All we have to do is get personal verified numbers, call it a reasonable time. Another thing is make sure that you're not coming through as a spam risk so that you can have a higher deliverable, a higher pickup rate. Sound happy and energetic as if they've already booked the appointment. Okay. Ask permission to move forward. Ask permission to give them the offer to pitch them. I'll show you how to do that. Next, you want to give them an irresistible offer, a freebie. Next, you're basically going to rebuttal any of their objections, go through the scheduling process, qualify them, make sure you're pre-framing the show up and they're checking their inbox, and make sure that, and this is really, really, really important, you want to make sure you pre-frame the show, and I'll show you how to do it. And also pre-frame, they're going to check their email to receive the resources, because that's where the pre-call homework is going to be, and that's basically going to be a time and energy investment before the actual monetary investment. And so you can add those two things, and first your people are going to be warm, your prospects will be warm, and they'll also show up, okay? Or have a higher chance of showing up, right? And you're going to add them to a group with a closer or send them a personal message right after you book them in for a cold call. This is freaking huge, okay? That's really important. You want to text them immediately, personally. As I said, if you have somebody or a consultant who's going to be taking the call, add the consultant to the group chat and then text them personally. Introduce everyone and tell them you're looking forward to it. Next, you're going to send them an email and SMS. You're then going to send them pre-call homework, right? Okay, so we're going to send them the pre-call resources. They're going to warm them up before the call. Then we're going to handle a reminder call 2 hours before the appointment. You can use AI for this. I'll show you how to do that, and probably in a separate video on how to use AI. Next, we're going to state the frame and the agenda on the call. Ask questions. We're going to get pain, goal, and their identity so that we can figure out, okay, who do they need to be in order to be in that buying pocket, make a decision. And we want to basically just get ammo here. Okay, we're getting ammo. Next, we want permission to pitch. We're going to give them a small breakdown of how everything works, handle any of their objections, and then we're going to ask them, where should we go from here? This is really important. You want it to be their decision. Okay, you want it to be their decision. Ask them, where should we go from here? You're going to stay silent, and then you're going to close the deal. It's that easy. Like, when you break it down into this simple of a process, it's not very difficult at all. It's very simple. It's literally just these sets of actions that, you do in order to take someone from a stranger into a paying client. Okay. Now you just have to execute. You just have to execute this at volume. Okay. Execute this at volume. All right. And so how do we do the first step, which is finding a good niche? Now, this is going to be an entire video breakdown on how to, because there's way more questions you should answer before finding an actual niche. I can create a separate video on that, but really serve one person, one thing. Okay. If you serve multiple people, multiple things, it just becomes multiple businesses in one. It's going to add a lot of complexity and you will hate your life. So one person, one thing. And you want this person to preferably be easy to reach via telephone, okay? And so the people who are going to be most easy to reach are local business owners. That's going to be the most easy people to reach, right? Rather than, e-commerce business owners, agency owners. Local business is really really they're the best people to reach via telephone to cold call, in my opinion. Now, you also want to make sure there's a lot of them, okay? So like I said, this isn't a complete breakdown, but just make sure you have these three boxes checked, okay? So make sure, serve one person, one thing, preferably easy to reach via telephone, and then there's a lot of them, all right? Make sure you have these three criteria met before you go on to the next step, which is offer. We want to create an irresistible offer for these people, for this niche, okay? And so we want to actually give them what they want instead of shoving the thing, our mechanisms, down their throat, okay? Because as you know, and this is really important as you start making organic content for your agency, whenever you sell the outcome, the end goal, and less the mechanisms, you can create so much more content because you can give a ton away for free because they're not necessarily bought into the mechanisms. They're bought into what you can do for them and what they're going to get from working with you, okay? So give them what they want, okay? Give them what they want, sell them what they need. Or sell them what they want, give them what they need, right? That simple, okay? So what do they want? Jobs? Do they want qualified sits? Do they want installations? Qualified appointments? What is the thing they're looking for by talking with you? Okay. Next, we're going to offer them free appointments. Literally, that's the best. I'm telling you, offering them a freebie is going to perform better than any intricate, crazy little cold calling script you could use. Okay. Being a good cold caller and offering a freebie, having an amazing offer is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Okay. And so the way that we do that is we offer 3 to 4 appointments in their city for free, just so they can test the system. Okay. What you're doing with this freebie offer is you're still going to take money up front. You're still taking money. We're not going to do work for free because then you get the lowest quality people to work with. Okay. The way that we do that is we offer a setup plus performance. We offer a retainer or a one-time payment, okay? And so the way that we take money up front for buy-in is we frame it as an overhead fee, okay? We frame the money that we take up front as just setup fee, just overhead. It's just going to cover the cost of delivering the goods, delivering the services, and you actually make no money on that. And I'm telling you, do not lie. Be honest. Do not make money on the setup fee. Don't care how much it is, how little it is. Just take something, okay? But be honest. All right. So in a retainer, you're going to take X amount retainer up front or X amount of deposit up front, and then rest of the retainer after the 3 to 4 appointments, and then rolling from there. Okay. Now you could also just just offer a database reactivation for free, but then you wouldn't be taking any money up front. You could maybe take a deposit. But I recommend one of these two. Okay. You could do one of these. This is what I recommend. So I recommend setup and also plus performance. So this is exactly what I did. You can basically do X dollars to cover your overhead. It could be however much you want. Just make sure you're being honest and not taking over that. First 3 to 4 appointments are without charge, and then the performance fee kicks in, okay? So this is a really good model you can use when offering this freebie, okay? Now you want to also frame this as if you've already booked the thing or you've already built the thing for them. You've already built it for them and you've got some appointments you can just throw their way for free in the area. That's how you want to frame it. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So next is leads. So I want to show you an interesting way to scrape leads you've probably never heard of before. That's going to get you a lot more of qualified personal phone numbers with qualified business owners. And it's a lot different than the normie method here. So I'm sure you've heard of the normal method, which is scraping Google Business with Instant Data Scraper and getting a bunch of leads, cleaning the list, and then you make a phone call, right? You make a call just to figure out you've gotten through to the infamous gatekeeper. Okay. So you got through to a gatekeeper, right? And the way that we're going to minimize this possibility as much as possible, you're still going to get through gatekeepers with the better method, is we're going to scrape from LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Now, just to be honest with you, and I apologize, this is paid. This method is paid, but there are ways to make it cheaper, and I'll explain this later. You're going to have to pay for LinkedIn Sales Navigator and a few different softwares, okay? So keep in mind, I'm going to make a full video breakdown on this and like the actual SOP level details. But for now, this should be enough, and you can basically take this and fill in the gaps yourself, okay? First, we're going to scrape LinkedIn Sales Navigator, okay? We're going to filter by location. This is important. You can get a list of the 50 biggest cities and just basically go through each of them one by one, filtering by location, and then scrape the leads with the software called AirScale. AirScale is really, really useful. It basically allows you to scrape leads directly from LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's not going to enrich the leads. It's going to give you a list of LinkedIn URLs as well as their personal information, a lot of their personal information. And you'll basically go to an enrichment database. You can get the phone numbers, and yeah. So usually it's going to be, you know, I've seen this, the cities could be anywhere from 100 URLs or people to over 20 or over 2,500 or over 2,000. Now, so yeah, basically you're going to scrape that, and then you can use a different software if you know a better software, right? But AirScale has done me really amazing. It's really, really, really good. Okay. It really is a hidden gem. Okay. Now you're going to basically scrape cities, right, by location until you compile a list of 3 to 5K. Now you're going to export that as a CSV, go to an enrichment database. You can either use LeadRocks, which is paid. Okay. I know I spelled that absolutely horrible, but that's LeadRocks, lead and then ROCKS. Okay. LeadRocks. Or you can use a platform called Cold Info. Cold Info is it's also going to be the cheaper of the two, but it's a very good enrichment database. So enrichment means you're going to get phone numbers. All right. And the reason we do 3 to 5K is we want a decent amount of phone numbers. You're still not going to get a ton out of 3 to 5K, but it's going to be enough. Then you're going to clean that lead list. You want phone number, first name, last name, email. Actually, you don't need their email, but phone number, first name, last name, and then city, state. Okay. And there are a few different things that you can track. You can track, you know, did the person pick up? And if they didn't pick up, you don't select the drop down. Like, there are a few different things you can do to track each metric to make it easier whenever you're going and putting the information into your tracking sheet that I'll show you in a little bit, to make everything a lot easier. Like I said, that's, did they pick up, decision maker or not, booked in, that make it easier for you to track certain things. But this will basically get you up and running, right? You clean the lead list, like I said, use the things that I told you that you need, take away everything else. All right. Because there will be a lot from scraping these, and I'll make a full video on this just so you can have an actual step-by-step on how to actually do that. For now, this should be good, and then you can just basically start calling people after you've compiled a lead list. Okay. As it goes for dialing, do not overcomplicate. Do not overcomplicate. The worst thing I see people doing is overcomplicating, trying to find the right thing, the right dialing software, when they should just be making calls. Okay. Because it doesn't matter. You will have to pay the price. I heard this quote a while ago. I don't know who I heard it from, but you're going to have to pay the price eventually. You might as well pay the price now. And the price to being good at cold calling is volume and doing it a lot, doing it more than the next guy. That price has to be paid, not, you know, it has to be paid eventually. Either way, there's no way you're going to pay that price outside of just doing the freaking work. Okay. You're not going to pay that price by finding the best dialing software. You're not going to pay that price by hiring the best cold caller. It's got to be you doing it yourself. So do not overcomplicate. If you have not started and you're just beginning, the most important thing you could be doing is making the freaking calls right now. That's the most important thing you could be doing. Okay. But whenever you're looking for a really good dialer, you just basically have these things in mind. Okay. Is it affordable? Is it fast? Is it easy to use? Is it scalable? Is there spam risk prevention? I don't know about you, but whenever I get a phone call and it says spam risk, I don't care who's on the other line, I'm not answering the phone. Okay? Just not. Okay? I really pick up my phone anyways, right? I'm not, especially if it's spam risk, I'm just not doing it. Okay. So some options that you can use are Google Voice. Google Voice is really good. I've used Google Voice a ton. It's very easy to just copy and paste numbers and do like 200, 300 calls in a very short time. Okay. It's very manual, but it is very, very good. Okay. I have not used AirCall, but I know AirCall is a very good solution. I've heard people use it. Close CRM is also a good solution. Hot Prospector is amazing. You know, you can call from local area codes. You can do that on Go High Level too. But Hot Prospector is a little good. Might be a little bit more pricey. But Go High Level, in my opinion, was just a little bit clunky, but it could be fixed now. It might be different. And there's also power dialing on there, so it's a little less manual than Google Voice. You can input the leads and just power dial, right? So don't overthink this. Do not overthink this. Depending on your situation, if you're just starting, I recommend just, signing into Google Voice, scraping some leads, and just making some cold calls with the script that I'm going to give you in just a second, okay? Very simple. Do not overcomplicate this. Choose a dialer and just start making cold calls, okay? That's the most important thing. Now, the script. I am going to shamelessly plug myself real quick. I want you to go ahead and join this free school community that's linked in the description, because if you want the templatized Google Doc, you want all the objections, you want the voicemails, you want everything that you can just personalize to yourself, I will basically have it in the school community for completely free, no charge. I'm not trying to sell you anything. And to put the cherry on top, because I love you guys, I am going to review all of your cold calls for completely free. So send those cold calls in, and then I'll basically review those for free and give you the best advice that I can that's best of my ability, okay? Now, for the opener, we're basically going to say, hey, John. Hey, John, it's Jude. How you been? Now, I would actually change this out for upward inflection. In my experience, I've had a lot more positive replies whenever I'm going upward, just because it sounds more curious. It sounds happier. It sounds more, it engages the person really well. Okay. And so I'm going to ask them how they've been. Okay. We're going to, of course, we want to say, hey, John, make sure it's John. And then we're going to say, hey, John, how you been? Break the ice. I've had a lot of positive interactions and encounters using this right here. People love to hear. They say, hey, yeah, no, it's Jude. I haven't heard from a Jude, but yeah, I'm doing amazing. How are you? And they're always happy, right? Some people occasionally you'll get the Grinch there. Okay. But overall, this works well. Now, you want to say, awesome. Yeah, I'm great. I'm actually a business owner in the area as well. Just seeing if I could steal half a minute. Okay. And I'd say that as neutral as possible. All right. Neutral inflection right here. Neutral inflection, because we want to say this more confidently. We want to say this more assertively. Can I steal half a minute? Okay. You can say it. It's like, as I said, I'd say it neutral. Just see if I can steal half a minute. Okay. Just because you're coming off more serious, you could be a business owner in the area. You know, they want to know what kind of business does this person run and what do they want to talk about. Okay. So the next is the pitch. All right. Now, just a little bit of a principle for this pitch. We're going to be selling what they want, not our mechanisms. I see a lot of people when they're cold calling just dive really deep into we're going to do this for you. We're going to do this for you. We'll do this for you. We'll do this for you. We do this to improve this and this and that. But like, what do they want? They don't want that. They want the end goal. They want qualified appointments, qualified consultations. So the way that we're going to pitch them is, great, I'll keep it super quick. I mean, I don't want to be in your hair too long, but basically we get invited in by agency owners in the area just to help them book an extra 50 plus qualified appointments every single month. Basically because I built you a prospecting system. Now, John, I'm not sure you'd even want it yet. Like, to be honest, I don't know if it could help you, but I can go ahead and throw you some appointments we've got, within the week or so. I could just throw those your way completely free. I won't charge you a thing. I guess the only thing I would ask for in return is a short conversation whenever you're free. And then I'd shut up. You'll see a very common thing that happens after you talk. You just shut up. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to keep explaining. You don't need to tell them about what you do or the clients you've worked with. Just shut up, man. Let the person talk. Okay, people like when they can talk about themselves and you'll listen. Okay, and then another way, like after this, if you use, as I said, I say this as a statement with neutral inflection, because if you say upward inflection and ask it as a question, then you'll get a lot of people giving you objections. And when people start giving you objections, of course, you can use our templated Google Doc to handle those. But this is going to basically just get a yes or a no out of them. And we want to be honest and direct. In my last video, I explained how honesty is one of the biggest keys to cold calling, because it comes across as you're actually trying to help someone. You're not just trying to sell them. Okay, so we're being honest. We want a conversation. Okay, and we're saying that as a statement. And then a lot of people, some people will start talking to you about their situation. Yeah, I've actually been looking for something like that, but it's just, some of the guys have been some of the guys I work with haven't really performed, and it's just not gone. Some of these partnerships have not really gone well. And some guy, he was running Facebook ads for me, and they were just using lead forms, and it was getting really bad quality leads. And they'll just start yapping about their situation. And so if they start doing that, that gives you a perfect in to get buy-in and ammo for them. Okay, so you can say how long you've been dealing with that, and of course say that in a certain tone. You want to use good tonality, like John, how long? I mean, I know you told me you've been dealing with blank. How long has that been going on? Right? Concerned. Okay. And so how much would you say it might be costing you each month because of that? Why do you think you're dealing with the problem? Have you tried anything to fix it? I assume you tried everything under the sun, right? I'm guessing that worked for you. And of course, the answer would be no, which gives you more ammo, right? And then after we dig, this is completely optional, by the way. You like, if they're not opening up about their situation, you don't need to do this. You just go straight to the permission to schedule, okay? So you say, well, John, I mean, if I, did have a few appointments already, I guess, are you not the person to send those to? Like, I assume you're the guy, right? A lot of them will go, yeah, no, I'm the owner. You can send those to me. And then perfect, John, I mean, if I told you I was the only guy who'd be willing to make money when you do it, I mean, I don't expect you to believe me. And I can just throw some appointments your way for free. You can close those up. I mean, is it crazy to have a chat, say like tomorrow afternoon? And the reason we're going tomorrow is because you don't want to book anybody in a week out. You want to book people in a day or two later. That's it, okay? If you go out more than that, it's going to be a higher likelihood they're not going to show up. Okay. And so, like I said, you can play around with this. You don't have to say this exactly. You can if there's something else from another script that you think is going to work really well that you've tried here, you can input that into a certain part of the script and make it that much better, right? But basically we're saying, is it crazy to have a chat tomorrow? People are going to go, no, that's not crazy. That sounds good. Yeah. And so this line right here, I've had people start saying an objection and then I would just cut them off, said this line, and then been like, is that crazy? Like, is that fair? Immediately. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. So this really kills. All right. Next, we're going to schedule them in. So we're going to get the best time for them, get their email and phone number. There are scripts. There's a whole script for this in the actual Google Doc, but I figured just to make it more simple for you, just get the best time for them, get their email and their phone number. Okay. Next, you're going to qualify them financially. Most people qualify financially super direct, and if you don't want to do that, then use this instead. Okay, this is probably the best way I found to qualify somebody financially, indirect. All right, so you say, all right, John, just so that our consultant or growth consultant, senior consultant can have more information, I just kind of need it in order to help you. I mean, I know you're looking to grow and make more money. I guess. Have you got like a certain goal in mind? Maybe an amount of deals you're trying to do consistently, say in like, I guess 6 to 12 months time? Say that exactly. And then you say, great. I mean, would you say we're about, what are we, like 25% the way there or halfway there, 90% there? And then they'll tell you how far along they are. If they're at 0 and they're doing nothing, it's going to be a waste of your time. Don't book them in, okay? If they say they're 25% the way there or above, go ahead and book them in. It's definitely going to be a good experience, okay? And worth your time. But this is how you're going to qualify somebody financially. That's not directly how much money do you make and how many deals are you doing this month. Okay. This is a little bit more of a ninja way of going about financially qualifying someone. Okay. And so, just use that when you want to qualify somebody financially after, you've actually got their permission and you're booking them. Okay. And you're actually in the scheduling process. Like I said, there are scripts for everything in the school community. So after we book them in, pre-frame the show up. So you want to say, so I know certain things can come up before our call, on January 3rd at 12:30. How do you want to let us know if you can't make it? Just shut up. Be quiet again. Okay. Be quiet. Shut up. Just be quiet. Okay. So you want to say, how do you want to let us know if you can't make it? That's going to put them in an interesting perspective and an interesting spot, because they're going to have to be like, no, I'm going to make it. And, I could text you or email you if I can't, but I'm gonna. Okay. And you're going to make sure that they know that showing up is really important. All right. And then you're going to pre-frame the resources and email check. So basically you're going to say, make sure you're just going to say something to let them know, and make sure you let them know you're sending resources to their email to check it. So you're going to let them know that you're going to send resources to their email and then make sure that they need to check it. Okay. I don't know why I had a brain stop there. Anyways, so make sure they know that you're going to send those resources to them, and they have to check it. Okay. Because in that, they're going to have to basically say that they're going to be there. Okay. They're going to say that they're taking their spot for their appointment, and they're going to be there. This is going to help your appointment show up. If the appointments don't show up, it doesn't mean anything. All your hard work has gone to nothing. Okay. So the resources are going to help warm them, and this is going to help them show up, all the follow-up automations. Okay. So the templated Google Doc, objections, voicemail is all available in the free school community. Join it. I hope you do. There's a lot of free stuff in there. If you don't, then I hope you took something out of this video. But anyways, how do you book the actual appointment? Basically exactly what I said just now. Open the calendar, agree upon a time, book them into the calendar, pre-frame the show up, ensure they know that they need to check their email. Okay. These are, and we'll get into the actual automations after they book the appointment, but it's this easy. Like literally open your calendar. You can use Go High Level, Calendly, Cal.com. Cal.com is good. They have an AI calling thing that, you can use. It's very good. Just get a phone number and then set up a phone number with a SIP trunk. I'm not going to do any of that right now, but I can make a separate video on it. Agree upon a time, book them into the calendar, pre-frame the show up, ensure they know to check their email. Okay. Very simple. That's how you book the appointment. We just went over it. Okay. Next is how do we get them to show? So after you actually book them in from the cold call, if you have a closer, you can basically just create a group chat, add the closer and yourself, and just introduce everybody. Hey, hey John, this is Jude. Just want to introduce you to our growth consultant blank. We're having a great. He's looking forward to meeting with you. Yeah, appreciate your time. Whatever. Just introduce yourself. Tell them you're looking forward to it. All right. Next, include the agenda and pre-call homework and the immediate email and SMS. So you're going to send them an email and SMS after they book in immediately. That's going to include the agenda before the call. Tell them to show up 5 minutes early, 5 minutes earlier, 5 minutes early, and then basically you're going to have the pre-call homework, VSL, all that good stuff in there, right? And then you're going to basically send them another email and SMS 24 hours before. They're going to tell them they must confirm their appointment. They must say, I'll be there, or you're going to give the spot to someone else. Let them know also that you're going to call them 2 hours before their call. Okay. You're going to shoot them a reminder call. And then 4 hours before their appointment, send them another one, just a generic email and SMS. The next one, 2 hours before, should be an AI reminder call, or you can obviously hire an assistant, a virtual assistant, to actually do this reminder call for you. I recommend using AI though. And the script for that is, hey John, this is Jude. Just giving you a quick call to remind you of our call at 12:30. Just making sure that still works for you. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome, man. Perfect. Yeah, the Zoom link has been emailed to you, so it should just be in your email inbox, and I'll see you then. That's it. Okay. Very simple. You can use this script for all of your reminder calls, by the way, just to increase your show up rate. And then 10 minutes before, send them an SMS telling, hey, our meeting's in 10 minutes. Looking forward to it. See you there, Jude. Perfect. Okay, so that's the kind of sequence we want for our show up rate to increase it. And next is the actual sales process. So what happens when they do show up? Now, I'm going to break down an entire Google Doc close that you've probably never heard before. I'm sure you're probably using a sales script or a pitch deck. Ditch the pitch deck, use this instead. It's going to perform way better, okay? Now, how does the doc close work? Basically, we're going to rely on less emotion, but more logic. You can rely on the emotion in the introduction and discovery, okay? But really, we want to break down the logic of why our service is going to work and why it's going to perform good for them. Okay, so basically, we're going to be, of course, the first 10 to 15 minutes of this call is going to be intro and discovery. And during this intro and discovery, we're going to be writing notes on our Google Doc. Okay, and I'll show you, by the way, this entire template is in the free school community, but you can just take this and put it in a Google Doc if you want, and you'll have the full thing. So we're going to be writing our notes in the Google Doc. So it's also going to seem more personalized to the prospect. Next, we're going to get permission to open the Google document and go through it. Then you're going to go through the Google Doc, go through it, and frequently ask if they have any questions, okay? So just like you're going through your pitch deck, frequently ask, hey, does that make sense? Do you have any questions? Okay. And then you're going to really highlight why what you're doing is different than everyone else. So frequently, or just a few times through going through this Google Doc, when you're going through the methodology and the mechanisms, you want to basically say, well, what everyone else is doing, and you'll see this is why everybody's getting burned, is that most companies are doing X and we're actually doing this. Okay. So it could be they're actually doing generic Facebook ads that are just do a lead form that are getting really bad results and really bad leads that aren't converting into appointments, and they don't do the reminder calls. So they get a bunch of appointments, but they don't convert. Say that. And then what we do is different because of this. Okay. So you want to really highlight why what you're doing is different than what everybody else is doing. Right. So the way we're going to structure our Google Doc is by calling it name consulting log. So the way that you're going to do this is, of course, you're going to have Google Drive. And then in Google Drive, you're going to have your template Google Doc close. So this is going to be name XYZ doc close doc, right? And then for every appointment, you're just going to make a copy of that. And then that's going to be the person's Google Doc close, okay? And so you're just going to open that up. You're going to change the name here for, let's say his name's John. Consulting log. You can name this like Codex something, consulting Codex, or scaling something. Unique name, right? Unique naming convention. So you can just basically name this whatever you want. Gonna make it seem more unique. Next, you're gonna have your discovery questions and the answers of the discovery questions, your notes right here. So these were your notes that I was speaking of, and basically it's gonna show that you've been paying attention. You have everything in the Google Doc, everything's personalized to them. Then you're gonna say, can I show you how we use this and how we can help you? They're gonna say yeah, and then you're basically gonna break down your methodology. So mechanism breakdown, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could be done for you ads, done for you appointment setting, done for you content, whatever you do. Break it down here, okay, and how it works. Next, after they understand, of course, this is where you're going to be asking if they have any questions, and then you're basically going to be saying why this is different than everyone else is doing, because it does X, and they're actually doing Y, okay? That's why it's different. You want to make them seem like it's something unique. Next, you want to break down their current state. So you're going to say, so man, like you told me you're at 20 deals a month right now, right? And you want to be getting to 50. Now you're closing at a 25%, man. So don't you think, how long do you think it's going to take for you to get there? I mean, it's probably going to be really hard. Like you need X amount of appointments. I mean, it's probably not going to look too good, right? And they're like, yeah, well, it's going to be really hard to get to that goal with everything we're doing right now. We're going to have to make a change. And then say like, okay, so if you were booking X amount of appointments a day, closing at X amount of percent, wouldn't you see how that helped you hit your goal? And so you want to break it down in a logical, mathematical way where they understand that you're going to be getting them X amount of appointments a day. If they're closing at 25, 30, 40%, they would be hitting their goal. Okay. And so then you just break down, okay, well, here's our limited offer to you. Break down your deliverables. So it could be a 3-month program, one-on-one consulting calls, dedicated client success, done for you YouTube ads and appointment setting. Okay. And then you could go, so it's either X amount per month, and everyone does this, right? So you could be like, it's either 10K a month. So it's 10 grand every month. Obviously that's crazy. It'd be like, 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K, 6K. Or you could be like, okay, or it's just one X amount one time just to cover our overhead, and then performance basis after your first 3 to 4 appointments. Okay. After the freebie offer. So this just covers our overhead, then it's performance from then on. All right. And so of course everybody's going to take this option, but this is what you wanted them to take in the first place. All right. And so that is the Google Doc close. As I said, this entire Google Doc that you can basically put your own information to and customize for yourself is in the school community, which is in the description. Okay. So next is tracking. So this should say step 9, right? Doesn't matter. So this is tracking. Okay. How do we track? So I'm going to break down a free tracking sheet that I'm going to give you. Okay. So basically, what do we track? Okay. And I said, join the school and I'll give you this for free. All right. So what do you track? We're going to track calls made, pickups, pickup rate, decision makers, how many people agree to the opener, the percentage of people that agree to the opener, the resonations, how many people resonated with your pitch, the percentage of resonations, pitches made, and then how many people actually booked a call. The way that we're going to do this, and then we're going to track the variables of our script. So I'll show you exactly how to do this right now. So basically once you open the script, you'll see this. So you'll see January through December. Okay. So this is you're not going to actually input any information in here. This is just going to be the overall year cold calling metrics. So let's go into, January. You see January, you can put your calls made, pickups, pickup rate, decision makers, how many people agree to the opener, agree to opener rate, resonations, resonation rate, pitches made, calls booked. And then you're also going to want to input your calls taken, offers, no-shows, follow-ups, deposits. And then you'll see something interesting here. So right here in the notes section, you can put your niche. So let's say it's roofers, roofing. You use opener V1. You use main pitch V1, and then offer V1. Okay. And then that would be that for that day of cold calling, right? And so this way you can test each variable. You can test the opener, you can test the main pitch, and you can use opener V1, but main pitch V2 and pitch something different. And then you can see here whether it performs better. Okay. Now, what makes this sheet so amazing, not only can you see each date, but you can also have your leads in here, right? So you can have first name, last name, email, phone, entry date, and then you can have every single thing, again, with your type of naming with your variables and everything, right? So what we're going to do is basically for our leads, what classifies a lead, in my opinion, is a pickup. Somebody picks up, put them here. That's why in that one section of the video, I told you can have it, make a drop down. Did they pick up? Did they not? And then you can go through after you're done calling at the end of the day or the next day, and just basically count that number, count how many people picked up, and then just put it in here, put them in here, okay? And then you can actually put your clients from the system in here, and then you can put your booked calls in here, okay? Very simple. Just complete master tracker. All the numbers come down into here. And yeah, if you want to know how to use that, and if you want this entire cold calling master tracker, you can basically just join the free school community. I'll give it to you for completely free. All right. So that is how you go about tracking each metric. You want to be religious about tracking. You need to track absolutely everything. Okay. And do it every single day. All right. So after you track, now there's a few different things I want to talk about because we're kind of nearing the end of this video. I'll talk to you about how you actually outsource. I'll of course make a separate video about this in the future, but just before I get into this, do not try to do this before you've cold called. Do not try to do this, but nobody wants to come into a broken system that doesn't perform and not be paid, right? Because this is going to be a commission only position. Just because people who are hourly, sometimes they slack. Commission is really going to incentivize them booking qualified appointments. Okay. The best place I've seen you can hire them is Indeed. Okay. Indeed is amazing to hire them. I look at hiring people from South Africa. They have really great accents and they're amazing to work with. So you hire people from South Africa. The way that you're going to pay them is $30 per qualified show, 10% per closed deal. Okay, per show up and per closed deal. So this might be $150, $200 per closed deal. Then after you have your job listing, schedule your interviews. The interviewing script is in the school community, but basically schedule the interviews, go through the interviews, send qualified applicants through a funnel, which is going to have a hiring VSL, which is the next steps, and all of your company culture, everything about you guys. And then you're basically applicants going to join the training community or course. So you can have this, you can create a free school community, for them. Of course, you're going to have to pay for the school community, but you can create a school community that's going to train your cold callers. And so you can have a course in there. In that course, you're going to go over the job scorecard, go over the training on your offer, what you guys are doing for your clients. You want to really heavily, extensively tell them about what you're doing and the offer that you're giving to your clients, or the prospects, right? And you're going to break down the processes for them, how to track their cold calls, as well as how to submit their end of day reports. So this is making sure that they're doing the work, and then how they can submit call feedback and record their calls, send them to you, etc. Right? So this is mainly what you need to hire someone. And then after they're fully ramped up, you can basically just give them leads, right? You want to make sure you're communicating with them daily. Make sure that you have training calls every week. Best training calls every 2 to 3 days. Okay. And I'd also recommend doing cold calls yourself, because if you don't show them you have a working system, or that you're also doing the work, they won't perform, right? Who wants to have a boss who is doing nothing that you're doing and it's not even working? No one, right? So you need to have a working system, and they need to see that you're working your butt off. All right. Or else they will not perform. Okay. So how do you do the work? All this is very cool, right? It's very awesome, very cool. But if you can't do the work, it doesn't mean a single thing. Because as I said in the beginning of this video, it's more about you and less about the cool shiny objects that I give you, right? And so how do you actually do the work? So I want to introduce you to something called dopamine detoxing. In the morning, you're going to wake up and you're going to do nothing. You're not going to sit in bed, right? You're not going to sit in your comfy little bed. Right? This is you right here. This is you. And you're not going to sit in your bed and you're not going to scroll all day, or scroll till, 10 a.m., 9:30. Whenever you start making cold calls, you're not going to scroll Instagram, YouTube, whatever platform, Facebook you scroll on. Put the phone down, get up, enjoy, maybe go outside for a second, okay? Just spend your day not listening to music, not on your phone, not consuming anything, okay? You want to basically manage the dopamine spikes that you have before you cold call. That way we can make cold calling up here. Okay, so like cold calling, adding a stimuli to that is going to be up here, whereas, you know, the morning you were down here. So most people start up here and then they drop off, right? They start up here, they're scrolling, they're listening to music, they're doing a bunch of dopamine activities, and then they cold call and it's like, wow, this is horrible. I hate this. I'm quitting, right? And so the way that you want to do that, and then when you actually sit down at the desk, listen to music. So the way you're going to listen to music is going to get you in a high energy state, a peak state, and you're basically going to just put in headphones. Whenever somebody answers the phone, just take the headphone out and talk to them, okay? This is, and as I said in the beginning of the video, it's literally breaking it down to the bare bones, talking to people occasionally. You're not even going to be talking to every single person you call because not all of them are going to pick up. And so whenever you listen to music, it's just like, I'm tuned into the music. Like, I'm doing something I love, right? I'm doing something I love. I'm pressing some buttons, and occasionally I have to take out the music and talk to the person, and I'm in a great mood doing it. So then it feels not like cold calling. It doesn't feel like a job. It feels fun, okay? And so we're making it fun, adding a stimuli, and that's going to increase the dopamine that we get from doing the activity. Another thing I want to explain to you is regression to the mean. This is going to help you not quit, okay? Because this thing right here, a lot of people have fallen victim to the opposite of regression to the mean, not understanding this concept. So you might be thinking right now, you know, you're going to do X amount of cold calls. You know, one cold call, okay, I'll book an appointment. Another cold call, okay, I'll book an appointment. I'll book an appointment. Okay, cool. Another one, okay, I'll book an appointment. So miss cold call, appointment, miss cold call, appointment, miss appointment, miss appointment. But in reality, how it works is it doesn't work like that, okay? It's going to go up and down and up and down and up and down. And then you'll find an average through the middle. And so you never want to make any decision when it's up here. And you also never want to make any decision when it's down here. Never make a decision here. Never make a decision here. Make decisions on this data right here. And so it might not like zero. It might not look like zero appointment, like no appointment, no appointment. It might look like this: 0, 0, 0, 0, and then appointment, right? When it rains, it pours, okay? So like you might go through a dry spell, but you can't quit at the dry spell. You can't be like, okay, well, if nobody's picked up, I've made 30 calls, that means nobody's going to pick up. It's going to go downhill from there. You have to snap out of it, because X amount of people might pick up in a row and you might book them all in, right? And so anybody who's done outreach for a long period of time understands how this works, and it's kind of weird how it works, right? So that's regression to the mean. Like I said, do not make rash decisions to quit cold calling because you're at either one of these states, right? I've already booked X amount. I've already booked 2 appointments, 3 appointments, 4 appointments today. I'll just pack it up. Don't make decisions here or here. Next is beliefs. This is a huge one. Anything you believe negative, I explained this more in the last video, but anything you believe negatively about cold calling, whether it be prospects don't want to hear from you, they hate me, I'm not good at it, I lack confidence, write it down and then write the opposite thing beside it. And start focusing on the opposite thing when you start having that negative belief that's affecting you negatively because it's making you feel a certain way. Those thoughts, those negative thoughts, if they're not caught and you don't make yourself aware of them, they're going to affect your emotional state. Once they affect your emotional state, they'll affect your energy and then your actions that you take. And then it's a downhill spiral from there. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes when I had been cold calling, if I had booked an appointment or two and then somebody rejects me, I'll have this little thought in my head that is like, okay, it's all downhill from here. If I don't call that belief out and destroy it and believe the opposite and be like, no, it's all uphill from here, I'm going to book all the appointments and make myself feel good again, listen to music, feel amazing again, that belief will destroy the rest of the day for me. Okay. And it's because these little micro concessions that you make that destroy your progress. Okay. So you have to break those beliefs, especially for something like cold calling, and anybody that you hire, you need to teach this to too. Okay. So I can make a separate video on beliefs as well. But these are the most important things for cold calling, okay? And so that's how you do the work. I hope you enjoyed this. All right, well, that's it. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Go ahead and drop a like, give me a comment. If you want to see me stream and build out some of these YouTube videos, and if you want to ask me questions, I'll answer them for free. I have a streaming link down below. Sometimes I stream, sometimes I don't. You can also DM me on Instagram if you have any questions or you just want to talk to me personally, or I'll answer every question you have, or I'll talk to you personally. We can have a cool conversation. Yeah, that's basically it. Join the free school community as well in the comments or down in the description. If you have any suggestions on videos I should make, I'll highly appreciate those. And yeah,